Hi everyone and welcome to this week's edition of Catherine Lambrett's Guide to Life podcast. How are you guys all doing? Thanks very much for listening. I know I probably say this every single week, but really, hang on. That's for you guys for listening because, figures are really rising quite rapidly. It's a bit scary, but there we go. We'll carry on with it. This week, right, back down to something that's a little bit more carefree, light-hearted, and we're going to be looking at ghosts and UFOs in Derbyshire. And just to let you know, I get this stuff it's from the paranormal database, the ghosts, and the UFO stuff is. Let me have a quick look. It's on the government website, UFO reports in government. And for anyone who hasn't heard of these before, I kind of go through and talk some sense into them because some of these things you think that's obviously a drone or a shooting star and someone's gone out the pub and seen it. You know, are there actually any of these things out there? You know, so this is what I'm doing with these. This week I have I'm going for Derbyshire because my grandparents were from. They actually did they meet on a country estate or was that I think that was my grandparents' parents. They met on like a country estate they were both working on and they got married and fell in love and it's quite nice and everything. But my grandparents lived in Derby actually. A really poor area of Derby called Alveston. That's the way it's not a great area. But it was okay when they lived there and they had two allotments. They had one for growing. What did they actually grow? I don't know. They grew like fruit and veg and stuff like that. And they used to cycle up there. So neither of them drove, and they both kind of went up, and they cycled up to their allotments and they grew their own homemade veggies. And then my grandma would come back and make loads of homemade jams. And she made these most amazing cakes. Sort of Victoria sponge she made. They were absolutely fantastic. And trifle, I've still got her trifle bowl. And, you know, it was just a great way of life. And they were really, really happy. Very, very happy people. So let's have a quick look. So first entry, what we're looking at first, we're looking at ghosts, aren't we? Yeah, and it made me laugh, okay? It occurred in, is it Alder? Oh God, I can't even pronounce this. This is first thing on a Monday morning. Alder Wasley Hall. That won't be right. Alder Wasley Hall. Well, we'll just go, whatever. It won't be right, but there we go. Someone saw a 4-foot-high figure wearing a green pointy hat feeding the plants. And to me, that sounds like someone in fancy dress deciding to come in and water the plants before he popped out or when he was mid-party. And there's no date on this, but I'm assuming it was a St. Patrick's Day. And it could have been a young farmer playing a practical joke on someone. There's no way that's got to be real. Sorry, no chance. And so one thing I did notice there are lots of fairy sightings in Derbyshire. I haven't come across that before. There are none in Cheshire. And lots of headless people as well. I don't know, did they just get around beheading more people in Derbyshire? Who knows? And lots of animal ghosts as well. And say a lot of which I haven't included. So if you do want to go and read some more, then go and have a look on that website that I mentioned before. So what else have we got? We've got Alfreton House. So in 2004, footsteps were heard walking across the wooded floorboard to the hall. Did that sound like footsteps? It's my best I've got to offer, sorry. I don't have a footsteps thing. But it's in fact carpeted. So that's been heard all the way back to the 1940s. Well, that's so I know people who did live in a haunting house and they did used to hear footsteps all the time. So I'm pretty sure that's probably, but I'm happy with that. I'm happy to believe that one. You can't explain that one. Alfreton, is it Dewhole Lane, Ashover, on the 24th of December 2015. 2 people were in a car and the driver had to slam the brakes on as a cloaked, hooded, transparent figure walked across the road in front of them and then disappeared before reaching the hedgerow on the other side. Could be a bit of mist, maybe 24th, you know, they've been to the pub on Christmas Eve. Sceptical on that one, I'm sorry, but I am. Just a bit sceptical. Bakewell, okay. Magpie Mine, that's a great name, isn't it? Magpie Mine, but that must be a bit unlucky if it was one magpie mine. I don't know. In the late 1940s, a survey team in the mine saw a man holding a candle who vanished down a shaft. A photograph taken by the team shows a shadow standing at the top of the deep water pool. Okay, so you can't really stand on a deep water pool. That one's not really very well explained, is it? It probably should have said there's no way you could access that or stand in the middle of water. But anyway, who knows? That's it. Again, you know, Skeptical on that one. Bakewell, St Anselm's School. Well, again, that's probably not how you pronounce it, but it's my best shot. In the mid-20th century, during a social event, some of the schoolboys were photographed by a schoolmaster, who then developed when he developed the photograph, a boy wearing Victorian clothing could be seen in the photograph, but nobody knew who it was or recalled seeing him there. That's fairly interesting, isn't it? Yeah. I'm happy. I'm convinced that's something, okay? Because you can't explain that one. And, if one of the school kids, A, they'd been spotted if they were missing, B, your mum wouldn't have allowed you out in Victorian school dress. It's highly unlikely anyway. So there's no really explanation for that one. Beeley Moor, March 2006. A phantom horseman is seen on the first full moon of March. Right, well, do you know any guys that live around Beeley Moor should go and check that one out? Let me know if it's true and anyone has actually ever seen it or if it's just like a rumour or a myth. Right, Belper Manor House. In the 1940s, a woman sleeping there awoke in the middle of the night with pressure on her neck and a heavy breathing man, but she was not able to see anyone in the light of the moon. Ooh. Yeah, again, that could be anything. Maybe it makes you having a panic attack. I don't know. I'm still not sure about that one. Birchover, Druid Inn, 8th of January 2012. At about 2300 hours, a worker at this pub saw an elderly woman drift through the oldest part of the building and then vanish into a wall. Ooh. I believe that one, although 11 o'clock could have been heavily drinking. Yeah, possibility. I'm not sure. But then that did happen to my aunt. I think I've mentioned before. She saw a ghost of a Victorian nurse walk through the wall in front of her. So, it does happen. Birchover. I've already mentioned that one, haven't I? Yeah. Branston, Clays Lane, 10th of March 2019. A couple reported to a local news outlet that a misty figure ran in front of their car before vanishing. Again, that could be anything, couldn't it? Come on, guys. Seriously, get with it. Brentby Mount Road and Ashby Road. A local newspaper carried a couple of stories about a woman in a floral dress standing on the roadside. As one driver passed her, he looked in the rearview mirror and she had vanished. That's an interesting one, isn't it? Because that woman could be anywhere, and it might just have been the fact that she turned around and walked off somewhere as soon as his car passed. Maybe he thought, that guy's staring at me weirdly. I'll just quickly disappear from sight. It's just like that's something and nothing. There's a logical explanation for that one. Maybe she was, I don't know. Maybe she was suffering some kind of breakdown and kind of wandering around in a floral dress. She could, I don't know. I'm not sure about that one, to be honest with you. Burbage, Trafalgar House. One owner of the house heard doggy footsteps running around the corridor outside his bedroom and then into his bedroom and under his bed. When he turned the light on, there was nothing in his room and the door was shut. You wouldn't be scared of that one, would you? Because it's a dog. It's a doggy one. So okay. I'm happy to. Unless you dreamt it, could have dreamt it. Yeah, that's true. Calver, Derwent Water Arms. 3 women wanted to find out why guests were walking out after only spending one night in a certain room. They tried sleeping in there. The door opened during the night and the whole room filled with an evil presence which stayed for several minutes before leaving and closing the door. Well, that would kind of put you off, wouldn't it? Because obviously something's kind of woken you up from your sleep. So it's something pretty nasty. Yeah, I've had that before, actually. One house that we used to live in, there was one particular time that there was I felt like a really evil presence outside the gates. We had like big pillars with like bowling balls on the top, because that's what they were made. They're made in Ayrshire, I think. And so they were just I don't know. It was just a really weird feeling. Castleton, Goose Hill Hall. In the 1930s, a little old lady was frequently seen in one of the bedrooms. Doesn't say that. Doesn't give me anything, does it? Come on. I mean, it could just be a visitor. Did they say they weren't expecting her there? I don't know. I'm not. What? I need more information about that one. That's not really enough. That could be just superstition, a rumor. Right, Charlesworth, main road running out of the moors, late 20th century, 10 p.m. That's really precise, isn't it? 4 people in a car driving to Charlesworth, watched a semi-transparent lady in Victorian dress with ruff walk across the road and through a gate. Now, you see, you've got 4 people there, haven't you? You know, you see, if all 4 people saw something at the same time, you can't really sort of, there's no, unless, you know, it's for a bet or something like that, because you can't remember, you can't kind of like trust people, but then why would you, I don't know. So yeah, I'm still kind of like, well, that could definitely be something, but there could be a reason why they've made up the story. Maybe for attention, they wanted their name in the paper because they want to be famous. You know, it could be something like that. Who knows? Chesterfield, house along Goitside Road, 1990 to 2000. A woman living here was the target of poltergeist activity lasting over 20 years. You'd think you'd move, wouldn't you? Items would be moved and thrown around the property, and the woman herself was also thrown into a wall. Why would you stay there 20 years if that had happened? So I'm querying that one. The house was previously owned by a man who murdered his wife in the early 20th century. Ooh. You just wouldn't stay, would you? I mean, like, I'd sell up and go. I just would. Chesterfield, private house on Home Road, 1991 to 1998. I'd put 1988, but that can't be right, can it? Because it's not logical. A neighbour would ask the owner if he had a guest staying, as he would see an older woman wearing a dark dress with a white lace collar standing by the window, but there was never any guest staying. He would hear footsteps. The owner would hear footsteps coming up the stairs at night, but he never felt threatened by the presence. That's kind of like, you know, 2 sort of people. He probably felt not as lonely because he had some of the kind of presence in the house. I believe that one. I do. Church Broughton. I'm not doing very well with pronunciation today, am I? Yeah. Old Air Force Base. In the 1970s, a bomber thought to have been from the Second World War was seen moving silently across the skies in the area. How do they know that? How did someone see that? I'd need like video evidence of that one. It could have been a cloud or anything. Yes, I'm not sure about that. Codner, House Wood Street, 1989 to 2011, over 22 years. The residents of this house have experienced strong smells, drains maybe, taps turned on, dodgy washer, footsteps, vanishing and reappearing items. Yeah. Well, again, I've had that. So, I don't know. I'm not sure. Derby, Alveston. Here we are. This is near the castle. 3 girls reported hearing the sounds of a battle in the early 20th century. Gunfire, galloping horses, and men shouting. And 4 other people also heard sounds while out late at night. 2 brothers also heard sounds in 2009. Well, what sounds? Were they the same sounds? Were they fireworks sounds? You need more information on this, guys. Come on. Derby, Normanton Barracks, 20th century. Squaddies tell of seeing a strange person in the newer building who vanished if approached, and then while outside, a ghost on horseback has also been seen. Okay, yeah, possibly, you know. But to be fair, squaddies do tend to drink quite a lot, particularly army officers in the officers' mess. How do I know this? Because I used to keep my horse with the wife of a serving captain, same rank as James Blunt, at the same time in the household cavalry, same regiment. Drove a tank as well. So now we're on to UFOs. Okay, Derbyshire. Right, so incidentally, so I've always had a link to the household cavalry. It's a bit bizarre. There's that link. Then my old farrier was the regimental household cavalry farrier. Okay, that was in Ayrshire, Scotland. Now I've moved down here. I actually know somebody that was also working in the household cavalry and knows the old farrier. At which point my friend turned around again. You know way too many people, you do, Lorimer. Anyway, we're now on to the UFO ones. Okay, it's a bit more interesting. So 2009, Swaddling. I say that just going back to that, there are shed lists. I only got up to D, right? It goes all the way down to probably about Z because it's obviously alphabetical order. So go and have a look at the rest of them because I'm not going to cover any more. And there's loads of stuff to read out there if that's if that's your bag. Right. So 2009, Swaddling Coat. 15 fireballs were seen in the sky and they weren't aircraft. Can I explain that one? Maybe not. Okay, 11th of April at 2021. That's too precise for me. Anything with a 0 on. But then again, would you round it up? I'm not sure. Derby, 2 orange lights in the sky moving toward each other. 2 drones, possibly. And a ball of light approached over the lights. All 3 were stationary, then disappeared into the darkness. Then another light hovered where the others had been. I don't know, it could be anything. 14th of April, 10 o'clock. Smalley, a round yellow ball. It looked like it had a parachute on top of it, the shape of a helmet. That could have been something coming down from space, though, couldn't it? It could have been anything. So I don't think that's anything. 7th of May, 2025. High Peak. 3 small lights close together, travelling in a straight line, flashing rapidly. No noise. They looked like they were on fire. Speed. That's probably 3 Chinese lanterns, isn't it? Yeah, speed 100 to 150 miles an hour. How can you tell what speed they're doing if you're stood on the ground at 10 o'clock at night? Just saying. How you couldn't tell at 100 feet unless you'd actually seen them. They returned 8 minutes later, blown back by the wind, probably. I'm not sure about that one. 2nd of June, 2050, Chesterfield, a sighting. That's all it says, a sighting. I mean, come on, more please. A UFO sighting. Well, what was it? What was it you actually saw? I mean, some of these you have to I can't even believe that made the database. 26th of June, 2020, Chesterfield, 12 bright lights in the sky moving slowly. Stars, perhaps? Maybe you were the one that was a bit drunk and you saw the lights and, yeah, anyway, do you know what? As you fell over, right? 27th of June, Hope Valley, red objects moving slowly, not high, silent, might have been going over Bakewell. I don't know, that's so vague, it's unbelievable. Could be anything. 1st of August, 10:30, New Mills High Peak. 9 bright orange coloured circular shapes glide across the sky for a couple of minutes. That's, do you know what? I don't, possibly. 28th of August, 9:45 in the evening, Derby. Several aircraft over Derby. Well, golly gosh. They could have been flying anywhere, couldn't they? Doesn't say if they made a noise, if you recognise them, if they're planes, helicopters, could be anything. Yeah, some of these made me laugh. I didn't even include all of them. Some of them I just thought I can't be bothered. Right, 26th of September, 12 o'clock, High Peak, 8 orange lights over the top of the house. That one made me laugh. It did. I'm like, what? Fairy lights, maybe? Who knows? 26th of September, 10:30 in the evening, Matlock, 3 orange lights. They rounded the corner, 5 in formation. No noise. There's lots of orange lights, isn't there, in this area, which is kind of made me thinking, well, actually, maybe that might be something. 27th of October, 9:10, Chesterfield, bright orange spheres that got smaller the further away they went. Well, they would do, wouldn't they? Because that's usually what happens when things are moving away from you. It's called perspective. That did make me laugh. 27th of October. Now, this was interesting, though, right? So the same day, okay, but a couple of hours later, 23:10, Barbara lights in the sky, it says. Lights in the sky, no object, orbs with trails moved in a circular direction. There were 4 of them. So, do you know, it looks like there maybe was something, because there's 2 sightings of something on the same day, 2 hours apart in Derbyshire. So, possibly. 28th of October, Alveston. 2 growing crosses, 50 metres apart, and then 5 minutes later, intelligent craft. How do you know that? How do you know that it was sorry. 31st of October. That needs to come with the kind of, and the reason I know that is because I'm like heavily involved in the military, or I'm a, air traffic controller. I did actually see one of these scraping through. I don't know if I put it on there. It was, I think it was one of the other counties actually, air traffic controller saw this, and I was like, right, okay. So that makes it then credible, because you think this is somebody who's used to looking stuff in the skies going, that doesn't look quite right. I'd probably believe that person. But anyway, right, so 31st of October, 8:52, Derby, round, yellow and white light. Something Halloweeny maybe. 1st of November, 7:40 in the evening, Matlock. Bright light in the sky, went green, changed to green. Doesn't say what colour it started off as though, does it? The moon, maybe? A cloud went over it? Who knows? 2008. 30th of January. Okay, 7:15 in the evening. Darley Moor, Derbyshire. 2 strange beams of light. They were very bright. Torches, maybe? They were hovering above some trees. Maybe not then. The lights then searching for somebody, maybe. They then moves towards the border of Staffordshire. They're probably searching for something. A helicopter searching for something. 12th of February. Doesn't say what time. Buxton. It says something very strange. I mean, seriously, guys, come on. You can't just add that. Why would you include that someone saw something very strange? It's just, you know, well, what? What did you actually see that was strange, you know? It's like a bit more description, please. 23rd of February. Okay. Okay, 7:30 in the evening. Derby, Derbyshire. A light object was hovering left to right, and the light was still hovering seven hours later. How do you know that? You know, did you sort of stay and watch that for the entire 7 hours? You know, lighthouse maybe? I know it's Derby's in the middle of nowhere, but the light was moving quickly. Then it started zigzagging across the sky. I don't know. I don't believe that one. 21st of July at 10:30 in the evening. The A6 near Buxton, Derbyshire. There was distant bright light, like a huge star. Maybe it was a star then. Was that when did the Russian space station go up? Wide-shaped object 2 with white and coloured light across it. Then it disappeared overhead. Just, yeah. 13th of October, 9 o'clock, Buxton, Derbyshire. 7 orange orbs. They were in formation of 3 and then 2 sets of 2. And then they moved generally in a straight line, but with some dancing in the sky. It's like you, full Nova, seeing stars and stuff. Yeah. 2007. 14th of March, 7 o'clock in the evening. Eyebridge Hay, Derbyshire. A very bright white light. Well, that could be anything, couldn't it? I mean, seriously, guys. A very bright white light. Was it in the sky? Was it low down? You know, was it someone's torch? LED light, maybe? 21st of March, 7:30. Worksworth, Derbyshire. Looked like 3 small aircraft. They were totally still in the sky and they were very white. 3 small, so, you know, 3 seagulls, maybe? Just putting it out there. Right. Okay. 20th of May at 2 o'clock in the morning, West Derbyshire, round orange ball, which then turned into an orange speck because it's presumably because it was moving away. Yeah, as it moved further away, well, that's usually what happens. But that's interesting because that's like, there's lots of orange balls around. 8th of August, 07, 2 o'clock in the morning, Castleton, Derbyshire. There was an object moving vertically towards the ground and it had lights on it. It could be anything. Something's fallen from the sky. You know, I'm pretty sure my Uncle Ralph found in some of these. Which reminds me, if I told you the crematorium story, I can't remember. I'll tell you again if you haven't. You might have heard it twice. So we lost Uncle Ralph a couple of years ago. And we went off to Derby to the crematorium. And it was, you know, it'd been there. It was a really modern building, okay, purpose built. And it had been there, I don't know, maybe 10 plus years. And he was one of the last ones of the day. So we all rocked up. And some of the details that the two sons had put through weren't actually particularly accurate because we were all muttering going, that's not actually precisely right, is it? No, that's not right, that's not. And all of a sudden, right, just at a really critical point in the ceremony, the fire alarm went off. Right? Okay. And the guy at the front was just like, I'm really sorry. In all the 10 years that I've been doing this, that's never happened before, ever. And we all just went, it's okay, it'll be Ralph. We all piled out. There wasn't a fire. We all moved back in again. It's just one of those things. He was so I'm sure he's phoned off for these things. And right, 2006, 28th of March. Doesn't say the time. Derby, Derbyshire. A bright red light was seen in the sky. The light was moving too quickly across the sky to be an aircraft. I reckon that's probably a drone. Yeah, early drone testing. 2005, 20th of February 05, Yeldersley, if that's how you pronounce it, Derbyshire. The object was missile-shaped, was turquoise in colour, metallic and looked reflective, and was the length of an estate car. That's just so accurate. Was it in the sky? Doesn't say that. Was it? Maybe it was an estate car driving on the road, and it just doesn't give enough detail. Okay, right. 18th of April, 12:30 at night, Matlock, Derbyshire. The witness said there was a descending white light. Again, that could be a shooting star. Then rotating beams of light going up and down from the ground. Well, I'm suspecting that's probably some kind of disco, isn't it? Right. Okay, 2004. 29th of April, 04, 22:30, Derby, Derbyshire. 4 bright lights plus the outer circle of a round object had 8 lights going around in a clockwise direction. Okay, that's in. How would you? I suppose you would. That's interesting. That is unexplained. I'll give you that one. 1st of September, 3:30 in the afternoon. Sorry, 5 to 4 in the afternoon. Gloshop, Derbyshire. It says silver disc. It could be a giant frisbee. Was my comment on that one? There's nothing in 2003. 2002. 5th of March. 9:50 at night, Ripley, Derbyshire. Large triangle-shaped object, large white light on the front. Each tip a white light, and in the centre a group of 4 static red lights. That's got to be an early drone, has to be. 15th of November 02, 12:15. I think it is, Derbyshire. A large flying object. Witnesses had never seen anything like it before. No lights whatsoever. Interesting. But that could be anything because, let's face it, would they be flying out? I don't know. Well, how would you see it, though? It hadn't got any light. How would you see it in the dark? I'll just leave that one there with you. Right, so 2001, 8th of February, 7:20, Duffield, Derbyshire. Large blue fluorescent cigar-shaped object. Interesting. Right. The object hovered, then moved quickly away. I can't explain that one. 14th of August, 11:05 in the morning. Buxton, Derbyshire. Size unknown, circular ring, horizontal with tail, hanging below with a black ball at the bottom. I mean, that's probably some kind of balloon, isn't it? Air weather balloon or something like that going down. 2000, 26. Have you noticed, though, right, that because something that has become apparent to me, the more you get closer to actually, no, we're going backwards, aren't we? We're actually going backwards, to be fair. Yeah, I've done it backwards this time. So just ignore what I was about to say because that actually doesn't make any logical sense. But actually, people are recording more things, not less. I was going to say it the other way around, but it's not actually true. Right, 2000. 26th of June, 12:30 at night, Derby, Derbyshire. Triangular lights with red centre lights going about 300 miles per hour on their course, heading north-northwest. That sounds quite kind of, official. But how would they know what speed they were travelling at? Because you need to have someone that says, I can estimate this because I'm an aircraft pilot or something like that. 16th of September, 9 o'clock, Chesterfield, Derbyshire. An orange ball. Someone playing basketball, maybe? It's like 1999, 20th of February at 9 o'clock. Well, sorry, 8 o'clock. 9 minutes past 8. That's really precise, isn't it? There's a reason it's precise, okay? Derby, Derbyshire. A police officer saw 2 large, round, white, yellow objects or lights. See, that one's kind of like, that's got some, a bit of kind of like, kudos to it, hasn't it? Because you're like, oh, actually, it's a police officer saw it and thought that doesn't look quite right. Nothing in 1998. 1997, 5th of March, 9 o'clock. Edale, I've been there. It's lovely. Lake District, Derbyshire. Triangular shaped object. It was green, yellow in colour and had pulsing lights. It made rapid, jerky movements. Again, I think that's probably early drone testing. 9th of June, 12:30 in the evening, Chesterfield, Derbyshire. There were 5 lights in a star-shaped at an angle of 20 degrees, which were rotating and changing colour. The lights also appeared to pulsate. Intriguing. 1st of August, 11:45 at night, Chesterfield, Derbyshire. There were 3 lights. 2 were quite dim and 1 was quite bright. The two dim lights moved off in another direction. I don't know why I'm laughing at that one. It just made me laugh. Right, and the last one. 9th of September, 6:40 in the morning, Matlock, Derbyshire. Two silver objects which form the letter H. They were bright and light and they were moving slowly in a straight line. Would that be not for someone's birthday? I don't know. It's like Harry's birthday or Harold's birthday or something. I don't know. It's, kind of could be anything, couldn't it? All right, anyway, well, I hope you've enjoyed that, because I try and make it really, really light-hearted, because there's so much serious stuff going on at the moment and we need to have a bit of a laugh and a joke and try not to take everything too seriously. I hope you have a good week, guys. Don't try not to watch the news too much. There's nothing you can do about it, and it is, I think, it is frustrating, but let's try and stay positive and try and keep our minds occupied with other more happy things.